Life's a gamble, take a chance. In the twilight of fortune's dance.
This week on Sin City Spin, Drew is pro-purge, Mental is pro-autism, Slider visits an old girlfriend. Also, the papal conclave, bum fights, and if Katy Perry is really an astronaut. Thanks for listening.
Host with voices rich and cool. Share the secrets, break the rules. Martini wisdom flows like gold. Every episode a story told.
I like milk. Greetings from beautiful Las Vegas. Happy belated 420. I'm Drew Masur. Think of me that good kush that gets you in the mood. To my right, he offers energy, creativity, and focus, just like sativa. It's Jason Slider LeDuc. And to my left, he's like that dirty dime bag you buy on the corner, even though it's legal in your state. You know what I'm talking about. It's Christian Mental Ward. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in.
Happy 420, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been fantastic.
Drew's apparently been talking to a lot of animals and making heavy eye contact.
For me, 420 is like a week-long celebration. Like, that's my religion.
There are worse religions.
Speaking of religion.
There are worse religions in this world. Yes.
Speaking of religion, someone died.
Speaking of religions,
lots of people died.
Yes, but recently, the papal father, the big...
No.
Hard pass.
Guy.
No.
Separation of church and state.
No.
Before the show, you were telling me his name. And it's like Pope.
Title.
His title. Right. Like, I am John Targaryen, first of my name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Defender of the Realm.
Yeah. Heir to the throne of Asgard. Yes.
It's been nothing but wall-to-wall Pope coverage all week long.
Oh.
And that's enough.
And now I'm going to have to watch Conclave.
Oh, no, you don't.
Nah, I'll read the verse summary. It's an election.
Right?
That's it. It's an election.
Well, I figured you'd be happy too
corrupt old men in robes have a rigged election. There's your movie.
I feel like this would be, not the movie, but the actual you'd be into because they communicate through smoke.
Not,
and we circle back to the
that would be
420.
Awesome.
That's
not the way you think.
I know.
And also,
again,
no. Well, there's probably heavy eye contact, but not the way you want.
In my religion, all week long, smoke signifies everything's a-okay.
Smoke and heavy eye contact.
Smoke and heavy eye.
This is not a terrible religion.
That's why I'm Kush. I get you in that mood, baby. Heavy eye contact.
So,
Pope.
We know Slider's serious when he has paper.
Oh,
that's right. I brought notes.
It's the Pope from Florida.
Actually, I cut and pasted stuff from the internet, but
Florida.
So
that was last week's Florida.
So moving from world affairs to local politics, right? So I don't know if you guys remember. My first assignment in the Air Force was at Edwards Air Force Base in California.
I do actually remember, and that was when, as opposed to the bustling metropolis it is now, it truly was middle of nowhere.
It was a little less the middle of nowhere than like the 50s and 60s when it started. It's but it's a little less the middle of nowhere now than it was 30 years ago when I got 30 years ago when I got there.
Boron's got 2 gas stations now.
Yeah, but they were flying SR-71s when I was there. It was cool. B2s, B1s.
I would argue as a plane nerd, it's still cool.
Oh, I'm sure it's a great assignment. They're just flying less stuff. F-35s, T-30. I think they're still flying T-38s there. I drove by a few months ago and there were a couple of Vipers up. So
just check it out like an old girlfriend and be like, "What are you up to?"
I was on my way to San Francisco for a gala charity event. So
no, they also have.
But I always pointed out to everybody in the car, like, that's where I used to work. That's where the rocket lab was.
That's my old girlfriend.
You drove all the way into San Francisco?
It's not that far.
Oh, yeah, but it's usually it's farther than you like to drive. I make the drive all the time. I like cars.
I love to do driving and road trips. I am often on a tight enough schedule that I need to be out and back, and driving is not in the car.
Because it's
given
7-8 hours.
It's about 8 hours.
Yeah.
Given my preference, I would always rather road trip. I just sometimes have schedule constraints, like I got to be out, I got to be back, right?
Nice.
So, because we talked about, remember when we went to Fitz's retirement?
Yeah.
And I was like, "You want to road trip it?" And you were like, "Nope."
No. Honest to God, you guys talking about it? It's like, oh, 8 hours in the car sounds like a lovely. I'm like, dude, going across town makes my ass hurt.
So this year for the Vets and Tech Gala up in San Francisco.
What are you doing across town to hurt your ass? Vets and Tech Gala.
Vets and Tech Gala in November. Let's all go. We'll all drive up. Not Drew won't, but you and I can drive up.
I like it.
Fun. Get to drive through Bakersfield.
I'll remote in.
Actually, so there's a couple of great chicken places in Bakersfield, and then on the way home, you get like, seriously, this is not an insult. You can get like a giant box of fresh avocados for like nothing. It's awesome. I love Bakersfield.
I don't know. They might be tariffed now. All right. Local California politics. Lancaster, California, where I lived for 3 of my 4 years when I was stationed at Edwards.
All right.
The mayor of Lancaster, California, RX Paris. Now, before I go on, what you have to understand, RX Paris.
Is that in initials or is it like to spell out the word RX?
R period.
Okay.
Rex. Paris, Parris.
Okay.
It sounds like
Rex.
RX,
Okay.
like a prescription drug.
Yeah, no. Well, no, R-Rex. Yeah, because Rex was the name of Snoopy when he was taken by that other girl who wasn't Charlie Brown.
You didn't know this was going to be a visual gag, did you, podcast viewers? So, and here's what you have to know about RX Paris. Attorney at law. Personal injury attorney at law. And so when I first get to California,
okay,
and you have to remember 90s personal injury lawyer commercials, which all like
Pew, 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 pew. I'm gonna fight for you.
they all opened like an episode of Law and Order, like dum, dum.
yeah.
That RX Paris, he'll fight for you.
Yes.
So RX
Power pose.
RX Paris. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. The strong
You
arm.
do remember the 90s.
Despite the drinking.
Post 420, you still remember the 90s. So, this has already gone on longer than I planned.
Oh, I forgot to start the
So,
timer.
RX Paris has ignited a controversy, shocking, right? After musing during a council meeting that one approach to homelessness would be to give them free fentanyl. All the fentanyl they want.
Wait.
Before I go on,
Wait.
questions, comments, thoughts.
What if the homeless people don't want fentanyl? What if they just want a home?
Or, how are you going to...
Oh, he's got a plan for that too.
How are you going to get domestic fentanyl? We gave up domestic fentanyl production eons ago, and now regular fentanyl.
Apparently, it's everywhere, man. You just buy some.
It's so tariffed.
Well, I mean, the fentanyl is made here, but the tariffs, the precursors come from China, so they're tariffed at 145% now.
Oh no, drugs are expensive.
Drugs are
That's bad.
expensive now. That's
Not
bad,
weed.
bad for drug dealers.
Bad for drug dealers.
oh, God.
So,
My head hurts.
further thoughts? So,
No, I want to
Drew-
bring it out. Bring it out.
Drew, to answer your question, this came up because during the February City Council meeting, in a retort to a resident who objected to musings of congregating unhoused residents into an encampment.
Oh. We're going to drug them, then we're going to round them up. And
Well, I feel like this would be some sort of concentration. And since it's
a camp.
camp,
An encampment.
yeah, you could put those words together and still nothing.
You know what would be handy? Is if you could have a tagging system so you knew who everybody was.
You remember, good things to remember about the 90s.
I've got more.
Oh, please.
The good things to remember about the 90s is people like this had the absolute common courtesy to wear a white hood over there to shame their
Common
face.
courtesy.
Just so we
to have a
didn't have to
Klan
know
mask.
who they were.
No, man, remember the sheriff in Arizona that was going to make all the prisoners wear pink and work out?
no,
I mean,
that-
there's
that guy-
always
Not-
a weird
Not
one.
was gonna.
No,
Did.
for
Did.
decades, Sheriff Joe.
Yes.
Oh, and surprise! It
Was he
turns
a
out-
governor too? He
Turns
almost-
out,
He ran for governor.
Yeah, it turns out he was, doing something sketchy with the funds, and
Say it's not so.
immoral.
You know what he's going to do? Look good in pink.
So when those comments became controversial, I don't know why,
The concentration of
he decided to. He didn't think anyone had taken his comments literally, but he said he did not regret them. And in a statement,
Oh, please, yes. What did he ask?
I made it very clear I was talking about the criminal element that were let out of the prisons that have now become 40 to 45% of what's referred to as the homeless population, he said. They are responsible for most of our robberies, most of our rapes, and at least half of our murders. I guess
At least half.
who are the people who are not criminals who are doing the other half of the murders?
They're the housed criminals.
said-
They're the
They're
house
housed
criminals. They're
criminals.
paying taxes.
He said without providing evidence to back up those assertions, and added
Yeah.
best part. Quite frankly, I wish the president would give us a purge because we do need to purge these people.
Okay.
Weren't there like 4 movies about why this is a bad idea?
No, they were
So-
excellent movies,
so-
and it showed why you should absolutely have a purge.
Yes, there were 4 movies.
And an episode of Rick and Morty.
There were, yeah, and a great episode of Rick and Morty. Oh, I bet you.
Tony.
I bet.
Feels good.
I bet you get into some shenanigans all the time. Oh, I get into it. I get
bet you
into it.
do.
Yeah, so there were 4 movies and a Rick and Morty episode about this. And I think the intent was to show how this is a bad thing, but I think maybe not everyone took the same message away from the Purge movies that maybe we did.
Look, it's a little bit bad to say these people aren't as valuable as these. See, the murderers that have houses make podcasts. Or are podcast fodder.
I want to
Podcast
hang on. I want to jump in. Whoa! We were having a nice time here.
But the murderers that don't have houses should absolutely have to fight to the death for entertainment, like gladiators. I think Rome had it right, maybe. Only some of us. No, of course not.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, are you pro Purge or anti Purge?
Look, I'm pro watching The Purge. If The Purge actually came to get me, I'd be like, fuck this, kill me. I don't want to.
No.
I can run faster scared than you can mad.
So I am hearing you are pro Purge as long as you don't have to participate.
No, obviously it's a terrible idea. I mean, great movies, terrible idea, probably. But
Why can't you say this definitively?
oh my God, what are we on the news? Well, you just say that the election was not rigged. I'm saying it might not.
Or say yes, I'm for the Purge. I'm not trying to tell you what to say. I'm just saying, like, leave the maybe out of it.
I don't think we need to mass murder people simply because they're an inconvenience. Yeah. Although raping's and murdering's a little more than an inconvenience, I guess.
Yes, I just
Homelessness is a problem, but you can't kill them all. Like, that's just not okay.
any complex social issue like homelessness or drug use, any person, and I don't care if they say just do this or just this like the Portland thing. Well, we'll make it all not a felony. Yeah, that was a dumb idea. And we'll round them all up. Anyone that has a 1-sentence, 1-point solution to any complex social
Yeah, it's more
problem
than a bumper sticker.
is a moron. Like, for example, the
R-Rex.
mayor of Lancaster.
R-Rex. Purge, man, purge.
So for the record, anti-Purge. Anti-Purge.
I would also like to offer. I'd like to offer to our listeners
Very
and
clearly
viewers,
no Purge.
Mental is also very anti-purge. Not a fan.
I'm a little fancy about it. I'm not gonna lie. No, okay,
That's why you'll be one of the first to go.
that tracks. In all scenarios, I'm one of the first to
And
go.
I love that you think you can run scared faster than I can, man.
Fuck no, I would.
You can't run faster scared than I can laughing.
Okay. No. First of all, I would just have put out a joint and they'd be like, and then I start to run, and then my body would be like, you haven't done this since the military, bro. I jogged across the crosswalk the other day.
And you didn't do it in the military.
I did the little quick guy shuffle across the crosswalk the other day and pulled a hamstring. So no, I'm not going to be in the purge.
Yeah.
So to recap, anti-Purge.
Anti-purge.
Running.
Purge light.
Fancy purge.
Fancy
Fancy
purge.
Finsey Purge. All right.
The idea of kill 'em all is not new. When druggies became a problem, it was give them a bunch of drugs and just let them die. When another group of people, let's say when AIDS, the epidemic was going on, a lot of people said, well, that's just God clearing them all out. So this idea of they're not worth anything, let them die, has been around for a long time. It's not going away. And I don't know. I mean, maybe the world is ready for such a thing. Paid entertainment. We'll stream it. We'll make influencers out of it. I mean, there's probably a $10 billion market for live fentanyl fighting from homeless people. Remember bum fights?
I do remember bum fights.
That same principle.
Yeah, that was a horrid principle.
Yeah.
That was a god-awful trend.
Didn't like that either.
No. I mean, it's privileged suburbanites coming into inner cities and paying homeless people not a good thing.
But the dude that had like 150 bucks in like a hotel room
Moral
and a hot
high
meal.
horse coming in 3, 2, 1. Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip,
That's not
clop,
even a
clip,
moral
clop.
high horse. That's a moral step stool. Don't pay homeless people to fight. For money.
When they'll do it for free.
But they'll do it for
Sorry,
food.
I had to put that in there.
So,
do it for
anti-purge, anti-purge, fence purge, pro-homeless battles, fancy homeless battles, anti-homeless battles.
I mean, I watch BattleBots. It's kind of the same thing.
You will when the robots take over, you will also be the first one in the octagon as the robots are making you fight.
I have said it for years. I've said it on this podcast. All hail the robot overlords. Long may they reign. I was on your team before you took over.
I'm gonna get a pass because I always say, "Hey Alexa, please." So,
Did you know as saying please and thank you apparently costs all the AI like $10 million in computing power because they got to go, you're welcome.
win-win, baby. Oh, all right.
That's all I got. Thanks. Thanks for being part of my life, Lancaster.
Kill them all.
You know, I keep looking at local politics. I'm like, hey, I don't want the hassle. I don't want the hassle. But now I'm becoming more and more curious about my electability of just going, that's fucking stupid. That's okay. You're an idiot. I wonder if that alone is it, and maybe I'm just not controversial enough, but I'm becoming more and more willing to try it.
I'd vote for you immediately.
I think most people, they're like,
I mean,
you know what? I disagree with everything he says, but damn it, he just says something. I'm good.
Yeah. That's why we're friends. I'm like, I disagree with 90. No, I'm kidding.
You're anti-purge. So.
Yeah, I am. There it is. Vote for mental, city ward. Yeah.
I mean, there's good money in it,
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Speaking of good money.
Non-religion, non-murder. What do you got?
Speaking of good money in it. Ooh, yeah, what a transition.
Good kush.
Good kush.
If you're still watching.
Get you in the mood. I don't know if you guys have heard of a little company called Blue Origin, but it's Jeffy's private space tour company. Jeffy Bezos.
Jeffy from the Family Circus?
Jeffy Bezos.
Yes, I feel like they were in the news recently.
So having your own private space company, that's a ridiculous sentence. I have my own private space tour company. All right, so.
Bit lame.
Apparently, a lot of the Virgin Galactics, SpaceX, a couple of them, they've been taking tourists up into space. So no longer is it just cool to go to space and be an astronaut, which I think is actually pretty damn cool. Now you have to have like a gimmick or a thing. Oh, William Shatner's going or this. So lately, the latest one is Blue Origin took up an all-female crew, right? And it was like space people and a scientist, like, you don't know them, but you know them. And
it was Gayle King.
And then Gayle King, a talk show host.
Yeah.
And Katy Perry, a pop star.
Yeah.
And his fiance, which let's just talk about it. That's a baller move. What'd you do last Tuesday? Jeffy took me to space.
Yeah.
All right. So they came back. Katy Perry kisses the ground. They were up there for 11 minutes. I can't imagine what 11 minutes in space is like, especially if I got to do 420 beforehand. Oh my God. Just connecting with the universe, the darkness of space, seeing the planet from afar, realizing how small we are and all of it. It was great. She came back, kissed dirt. Not the weirdest thing I've done with dirt.
Not the not the grossest thing Katy Perry's ever kissed.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, apparently they are just shitting on her for this. It was.
Well, let's. She called herself an astronaut.
She is.
Technically, she is.
Google it.
All right.
William Shatner's an astronaut.
The only
Katy
rule
Perry's an
is you
astronaut.
have
Gayle
to
King's an
cross that
astronaut.
arbitrary 50-mile boundary
Okay, and
into what we call space.
We're gonna take the argument of maybe they didn't quite get there out of the whole thing. I don't think it's everyone's shitting on them, not because they went, because you said two interesting things there. And the first one, you mentioned William Shatner. And when William Shatner came back down, and let's be honest, William Shatner has done more for enthusiasm in STEM than probably any human on the planet by accident, which he freely admits it was by accident, but he has encouraged people to go into those sciences and study these kinds of things. And rather than being arrogant about it, he's grateful.
Everybody wants to be Spock.
When he landed, it wasn't, look at what I accomplished. It was, wow, this was a wonderful opportunity. I'm very, very blessed.
I saw the Earth without boundaries. He said a lot. Eye-watering to see. I mean, he said things like that, very inspirational
things. Like what you said. Like,
yeah,
I would pay for you to go into space, but Katy Perry was all like, oh.
You'll also try to fight a bum up there.
That's the future.
There are space bums. That's a thing.
Drew and a bum in
space bum. Space bum.
Let's do it.
But I mean, it wasn't
an old-timey prize fighting too.
It wasn't that they did it. It was just this. They came back and they're like, oh, we're all these wonderful things. And I'm going to throw a name at you right now, listeners. Roberta Bondar. And if you don't know who Roberta Bondar is, you don't get to talk about how great Katy Perry is for going into space or Gayle King. Screw you.
I do not know who she is, and I'm going to talk about it anyway because it's my topic.
Fair enough. Well, no, and you get to talk about it. But I would argue Katy Perry doesn't know who Roberta Bondar is.
Right. And look, maybe kissing the ground was weird. Maybe taking a flower to a place with no oxygen was weird. Fair.
You could have, all of which would have been fine if you hadn't have gotten so cocky about it.
She's one of like 500 people that's been to fucking space. I'd be like,
yeah, and 400 of them aren't dicks. 5 of them kind of are. Jeffy took me to space. You're a dick.
I want to throw something in here. And it's cool they went to space. It's cool they brought a lot of attention to space. This is, when we were working on space stuff in the Air Force in the 90s, we always talked about this is the kind of stuff that needs to happen to really get the ball moving in space. To get humans being into space is people need to be working up there. They need to be living up there. We need attention on space. And these are the first steps to that. So I don't want to diminish that. However, we know a lot of women in the Air Force. We know a lot of women who flew airplanes in the Air Force. You know our friend Danny Pope, right? Who flew special ops C-130s all over the world in combat zones. Sometimes
dispatched more fundamentalists to meet their 72 Virginians than
sometimes with an all-female crew on a special ops C-130 in the worst parts of the world.
It's a little bit more,
right? So. I think if you're really looking for a story to tell about women in aerospace doing achievement, Danny Pope or any of the other
great names,
any of the other women in the Air Force, in the Navy, in the military, who are out there, whether they're on an all-women crew or not, who are doing the job right next to the guys. And saving the world for us.
To the point where the last thing you notice is their gender, you just notice, man, that's a stone cold terrorist killer. That's an awesome scientist. Man, that's a fantastic whatever. Yeah.
How many of them have those 2 hit songs about being in a UFO and an alien though?
Gayle King doesn't have these.
She manifested going to outer space.
I'm not sure how many hit songs Danny Pope has, but I'll ask her next time I'm talking to her.
Speaking of manifesting good things, can we just say that Jeff Bezos' fiance, who 5 years ago was just chilling somewhere and went, I'm going to marry one of the top 5 richest people in the world.
She was a helicopter pilot.
Good for her. Not anymore. No. You know what she is now? Rich as fuck.
Oh, no. I love the fact that Jeff Bezos, by getting divorced, created another position on the top 10 richest people in the world list with his ex-wife. And she didn't want it, and she can't give it away fast enough. So, yeah, no, I would marry Jeff Bezos for that kind of lottery ticket.
Final point. Jeff Bezos versus Elon Musk. Elon Musk has the baby mamas, and we found out on X that he pays them $100 million plus a bunch of expenses.
And he names them weird shit.
He does.
And he won't talk
Sigma,
to
Alpha, Gamma, Zenith, whatever.
He won't talk to one of them.
I'm saying, man, you gotta, Jeff Bezos it's classy. Like, what did you do? Oh, well, I took her to space. I mean, that's baller move. And I'm telling you.
I will go baller. I will not go classy.
Once he took her to where no man had gone before, I bet she was letting him go where no man gone before. And Jeffy got some good.
So what would be classy?
Right, if space isn't classy, Olive Garden.
No, I'm wondering,
Unlimited breadsticks. Come on.
if space is baller but not classy, what's the classy thing you do from your lady when she comes back from space?
Don't let her kiss dirt.
like Legacy Club Foundation Room? What are we talking about?
Okay, both good options. But yes, absolutely. You know, I feel like that is a great question for our viewers. So, Jacques, what's the classy move to do from your lady when she comes back from space? Amanda, what would you like done for you when you get back from space?
When you come back from space.
When my woman comes back from space, we're going to Planet 13 and we're going to buy a bunch of kush called Blast Off.
Speaking of, here's where I will compare and contrast classy versus baller move. Our good friend, delightful friend Amanda, just recently became engaged to a guy that we all like. Yeah, he's a classy dude. And what did he do? He found in a series of shared interests that they have. They were skiing down a mountain. He got her to go kind of off the trail a little bit into an area like it's not like a make-out palace or anything, but it's a nice little Adirondack kind of a deal that he had already pre-decorated. And he reached into his pocket and he pulled out her favorite beer, and then reaches into his pocket, pulls out the ring, drops to one knee. That classy,
but not baller.
Okay.
But
I'm
classy.
so glad he didn't drop that ring in the snow.
Oh
Could
my
you
God,
fucking
that was the first
Could
thing
you
I thought of.
imagine?
Well, I guess we're coming back from mountain bike season.
Yes.
Just all of us with metal detectors going, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it.
Yeah. All right. For those who
That
don't
is neither
know,
baller nor classy.
Roberta Bondar was the first neurologist in space, and I learned all about her on Letterkenny, which is the only reason I know who she is.
We tricked you into learning something.
Yeah, that's exactly what Jared Kelso did, and then he also mentioned it on Shoresy, which I love. But speaking of camps, see, that was a terrible transition.
Camps and bump fights.
Can't argue with that.
Yes. So our health secretary, recently appointed health secretary, Robert Kennedy Jr.,
Robert F. Kennedy
Jr., who once had a worm in his brain.
Eating it.
Now, and this is where I am actually kind of torn on the duality, because one of the things he talks about when he came into there is McDonald's fries. Why are they even classified as food? If you drop those on the ground, this is true, ants won't eat them. Bears will not eat a McDonald's hamburger, and they will smash your car window for donuts. But one of the things that he is doing right now is he is launching a disease registry to track Americans with autism.
Oh, we have camps and registries. How fun! What exciting time!
Registries. There is no fail.
I want to go to space.
Items get put together at all, and I love that an entire demographic of people who typically are in support of this are the ones that are like, no, you can't register my gun. But my child, yeah, that's totally fine. You can register my special needs child. And their thing is they keep calling it an epidemic because the numbers have increased. And what everyone who has studied autism realizes is, no, the numbers are the same. We're just better at realizing it than we were even 5 years ago.
Right. There's been plenty of times where they're like, oh, no, this is spiking. And you're like, no, we're just aware of it now. So we see it more.
Yes, exactly. I mean, has anyone watched any episode of The Big Bang Theory ever?
Right.
Wait, there's science in that show?
There's also there's also autism.
I thought there was a blonde girl. I thought it was about a blonde girl.
Who's autistic in Big Bang Theory? It's my spot. It's my spot. It's my spot.
Penny's the one who's not. Yeah. The rest
Are you
of them?
sure that show's not just about a blonde girl?
It's about
That's all. That show was on for like 12 years. And that's all I remember is the blonde girl.
It's a blonde girl with a group of varying dimensions of autistic friends.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I think the people on Friends might have been a little autistic too. I don't know.
Seriously, they hung out in the same coffee shop. They all sat in the same place. And in fact, the coffee shop used to be a bar, and they still went to the same location.
The three men who used to spend every Friday afternoon in the Officers Club at Nellis.
Playing pool with no sticks.
And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw this out there. I don't think any of us want to be on a registry. So
I don't want to be on a registry. I'd like to be off of some, actually.
I think we're fooling ourselves to think that we're not on some registries.
Yeah, I'd like to be off of some.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a compelling argument right there. Yeah. So stop calling us with your solar offer on our Google Voice number. We don't want it. And we don't want to be on your registry either.
Although, then no one would be calling us.
But, okay, so, and here's the one where Slider says, thanks for joining us. We've had fun before we got canceled.
Oh, yeah. Well, want to know where the good tacos are?
No. More interesting battles. The battle of fentanyl-fueled homeless people, murderers, or the battle inside the autistic camps?
I want to say something that I know that's
more interesting is probably going to be the autistic.
Sure, the autistic guys, right?
More interesting.
Yeah.
They may not even battle to the death. They may come up with a way to escape.
That's what I think is the autistic guys will probably come up with a way not to fight and to work together to overthrow their taskmasters.
Until the robots get here.
The robots are built by the autistic people. They're totally going to be spared.
Now, so less about marginalized groups.
Yeah. Incidentally, anti-purge.
Robert F. Kennedy.
Pro-autistic.
Robert F. Kennedy versus a bum.
Ooh.
I don't know, JFK or RFK.
Like regular bum?
Nah, dude.
Or
Space bum.
Fentanyl fueled or not?
Fentanyl fueled space bum.
Doesn't matter, dude. You see him doing pull-ups in his jeans on the campaign trail?
Dude, he's pretty jacked.
I'm not going to argue. Well,
he hasn't had food dyes.
It reminds me of that Futurama episode where Fry eats the egg salad sandwich.
What are you crossing off?
I don't know. Stop talking.
It's the egg salad sandwich that's full of the intestinal worms that make him fit and jacked and wonderful and smart and everything like.
So you think RFK Jr. is jacked because of the worms?
I would vote for the worm.
Here's
pro worm.
RFK Jr. worm versus non-fentanyl fueled space bum.
Oh, the worm every time.
No. RFK Jr. fentanyl fueled versus the sandworm from Dune.
Sandworm from Dune.
The Bears.
Sandworm from Dune. Because RFK Jr. is out there on the sand going, come at me,
bro.
I'm fentanyl fueled, I'm ready. And the worm just goes.
But look, big picture.
I hope I edit this to zoom in on you when you did that alarmingly accurate worm noise.
I've seen Dune.
Both of them.
I have seen. They're good.
Yeah.
They're way better than that Abomination from 1984. So
I will not have you talk about Kyle MacLachlan that way.
Oh no, he's fine. Everything else is nonsense.
Okay.
And honestly, he's kind of nonsense in it too. But it was like one of his first films. What are you going to do? He learned. He learned and went on to do amazing things.
When it comes to autism, I think
this is not going anywhere good. You know what? Just skip ahead 2 minutes. Just skip ahead. Go ahead.
I think it's great that there's.
Can we talk about LegalZoom, guys?
The Pope died.
Nope. No more Pope coverage. Unless it's Danny Pope. Go ahead. Skip ahead. No one will blame you.
Well, when it comes to autism, I think that there's a big push for a lot of people to sort of say,
we're
hey,
going to do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of, hey, everything's cool. And then there's a lot of people that are like, hey, maybe this is a bigger deal that, I don't know. He's trying to associate it to French fries. I think it's going to get weird. And, it's tough because more and more people are identifying as on the spectrum. And I'm not even entirely sure I understand all of what that means. Just that little phrase.
The fact that you're willing to admit that shows a level of understanding that many people that are making decisions about this don't have. And I hate that they're like, oh, we're going to cure it and make all these people normal. And
Well, what's normal, man?
that, and I hate the concept of normal because then it leads to a concept of predefined roles in society, and I don't like society trying to tell me where I should be and where I should fit, which goes right into my neuro spiciness because no, you don't get to tell me. I get to tell me what my role in society is, and as long as I can operate within a given set of moral and legal parameters, leave me the F alone.
I feel like you're shifting more towards pro-purge.
And this is Love on the Spectrum.
I know. I'm not going pro purge. I'm going pro leave me alone. Don't try to make me normal.
Okay.
No argument here.
Perfectly reasonable request.
Yeah. These guys have known me for 22 years. They gave up on trying to make me normal years ago.
That smacks of effort. No, thank you.
And that's how we know RFK Jr. is not Gen X, because he's willing to put in effort.
He's willing to care about
He cares.
stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why he'll lose to the
So
sandworm.
much boomer effort.
That's why he'll. Yes. Yeah.
All
The
that boomer
Sandworm comes to a Gen Xer, and the Gen Xer's like, whatever, dude.
It's just too hard. This is why you fail.
Whatever. It didn't fail because I didn't try.
Yeah. Can't fail if you don't try. Take that, Yoda.
Oh, all right.
Any other thoughts about autism, Drew?
No, I think I've shared my thought bubbles for today.
One more. RFK Jr., non-fentanyl fueled
Okay.
versus Katy Perry after arriving back from space.
I think Katy Perry whoops his ass.
I say RFK beats her so badly she has to have surgery to have her face reconstructed.
And then Orlando Bloom comes in and shoots a bunch of arrows.
Nope.
No.
Isn't that her husband
No,
or
don't do
something?
that. Don't do that.
He was the guy from the movies with
I
the
know.
bow and arrow.
Yeah,
We
don't do
know
that.
he was the guy
We
from
know.
the movie.
Okay, all right. I was like, I thought it was the wrong guy.
This face?
Yeah, no,
Not because I didn't get it.
you can't bring in another sci-fi genre when we're talking.
Yeah, you can't mix space and fantasy.
Don't make me normal.
And that's the title of the episode. Don't make me normal.
If you want to know where the good tacos are,
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. If you want to disagree or agree, if you want to correct our math, or you just need to find out where the good tacos are, you can drop us a line at sincityspin.podcast@gmail.com. You can text us at 702-721-7328. We're on Facebook, Insta, Reddit, and the thing formerly known as Twitter. That is all we have. Stay safe and hopefully luck will be your lady. But if you wind up broke, well, I hope you have a swinging time.
well, hot shit. You think I'm not bringing that back to you later today? You're out of your mind. Well, hot shit.